Welcome to the latest edition of Schmoedown Night in Canada. I am none other than your friendly neighborhood soda, and once again, I am joined by none other than our resident corruption shill, Daniel. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going? I mean, I guess shill is a little better than cheerleader, but I still prefer ambassador. But hey.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think corruption shill kind of rolls off the tongue better.
I mean, for you.
Touche. Yeah, no, this has been a great weekend for Schmoedown. Not only have we had the two matches we're covering today, there was also the pay-per-view on Friday, and then of course, if none of you guys had a chance to check it out, you could always watch it on the replay. The Smash-a-thon happened this weekend. We're raising money for Kevin Smets and for support for cancer. You're gonna have great people like Call to Action. You're gonna have the Action guys. You're gonna have oh god, who else is on there? You're gonna have
everyone. Fanatics, Machine Mondays, the Gucci verse. Let's get ready for Schmoedown. The Ultimate Schmoedown show. Anyone you can think of. If they make a Schmoedown reaction podcast,
my friend Ben's on Schmoedown. And then obviously, and then we're going to be on. We're on at this when we're recording. It's going to be the we were on at 7 a.m. for me and 10 a.m. for these schmucks over in the East, you bastards. But yeah, be sure to check that out. It's for a great cause. I'm sure there will be ways to donate money or whatnot have you. So definitely do that. Just show Smets your love and support because he's one of the good ones, and we want him around for a long time.
Yes, as always, smash cancer.
Damn right.
Like Kevin is such a great person, and like doing this, what he's done to like both raise awareness and also like show people a true side of both like being human and just not giving up, right? Like, I mean, he's been such a force, and I don't know. I'm tripping over a lot of my words here. I have quite a lot of experience with this sort of illness. Not this one in particular, but there's a number of my family members who have passed away due to similar circumstances.
Yeah,
and
for me, unfortunately, 3 of my grandparents passed away. One way before I was born, 2 when I was really, really young. Cancer. One of them was from colon cancer. So. Actually, I think
I've got 3 of them before I was born.
Oh, yeah.
I only had one grandparent, and I only had one for about 11, 12 years, and he also passed to several different forms of cancer all at once, and that was one of the most heartbreaking things. Wasn't even like losing my only grandparent or not having grandparents or the funeral or any of that. It was like watching a person you care about that much just not be themselves and not be able to function in the way that they want to, and to watch this like in a different light. Like Kevin's battle is both going to be extremely hard, and we should like both realize that it's not all going to be easy or fun or happy even, but it is like both what we're learning is necessary, and Kevin's message is beautiful, and he deserves all of our support. And even after the Smash-a-thon, going into the next year, the next 3 years, Kevin Smets is like kind of gonna change. I'm gonna say he's gonna change the world a little bit here, because I recently saw something. This could be a little bit of a tangent. Sorry. I saw something. Someone was talking about that couple who burned down the entire West Coast.
Yeah.
And about how their their net impact on society, right? And like, no matter what these people do for the rest of their lives, they will have a negative net impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is very different. And I think, like, while his road is hard and it's going to be very tough to both watch him go down this road and for him to take it, but it will make such a positive impact on this community, and therefore all the communities that we all engage with and create going forward. I do believe that Kevin Smets has changed the world just a little bit, and enough to make him a true hero.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. But honestly, what not really surprised me, but impressed me the most is just how much our community has embraced this. Like, we saw it when Schnepp passed away, we saw it when Cal passed away, but this is something on a whole nother level. We even saw it when Paul Preston's wife passed away too.
Paul and Craig, I was about to mention those.
And of course the Barbarian with his wife, but this is like something totally different. Like, this just show just how much Smet means to a lot of us, and those of us who have gotten the chance to talk to him. I'm really, really impressed, and I'm humbled and honored that we were able to take part in this fundraiser.
Yes, special thanks to Sean Sullivan, who, and I believe it was a lot of the A Certain Point of View. Who, we did not mention up top, which, oops. Just like a huge thank you to them for organizing a lot of this and for bringing everyone, including us personally, along for the ride. It was so fun to both like participate in and get to like just have some fun with everyone and bring everyone together.
Yeah, and getting to meet all the new people too. Like, that's a big thing for me.
Yeah. And with that, we do have some actual Schmoedown to talk about. We had 2 of the first round teams matches this week. We had Category 9 and the Odd Couple, who that's the Burning Droogs and the Rock Stars. Just starting off, these factions have... Okay, no. We have Swag, we have the Den, we have the Droogs, and we have the Rock Stars, right?
Yeah.
If anyone here loses, they don't get matches anymore, except for Swag, who has a couple of championship matches at Spectacular, and Chris Jericho has 1 match at Spectacular as well, so the Rock Stars. But it was interesting to see, like, this week was, that like final week right before the playoffs where everybody is either going to win and be in or lose and not be in anymore. That's kind of what the intensity this week felt like to me.
Yeah, you're not wrong. This is definitely, we're at the point where we're figuring out, okay, who makes well, for some teams we already figured out, but yeah, you're right. It's where we realize, okay, who's going to make the playoffs and who's not. It's very interesting just see where it's going at the down the wire.
And there's something to be said of like the tournaments themselves being the playoff format, and the like I guess like anything after the first round in a tournament would be playoff, and the first round is those last couple of games, because I think if you win 1 match in a tournament, you get some stability. And you see it a lot with some people that like they win that first match by a little bit, but then they have a couple of good matches, and there's 2 strengths to the tournament. You got to be good when you're cold, and you got to win, and then you need longevity, and you need to stay at a pace of both study and mental acuity in order to keep going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very weird to look at it. I mentioned somewhere in my notes about backup goalies. Where did I mention that? Oh, it's in this match here, so we can get into it. Category 9 and the odd couple. What did you think of Brandon Hanna?
So I'm echoing on your end, aren't I?
I heard a little bit of an echo, but like I have headphones. It's not coming through the mic.
Hanna is really good at making you hate him, but I wasn't quite sure when they were doing round 2 if they were if he was in character or not. Like that I couldn't quite tell. Because he was, you know, he was being what a real teammate does, talking over the option, whatever. But the way he was doing it, that's where I was like, okay, is he sounding like this because he's in character, or is this really how he is?
Yeah. In his defense, which is hard to do. Look, I appreciate the heels. I'm the bad guy on this broadcast for some reason. I don't know.
Someone had to be.
Well, yes. A, somebody had to be, and 2, I just chose the right faction, and everyone was mad at me for it. I don't know exactly.
I mean, sorry, a natural heel, but I mean, you're the one that chose it.
Oh yes, I definitely chose the heel life because I mean, I honestly used to be a Dan Murrell and Rachel Cushing fan, so I was the facest of faces.
Oh, fair enough.
And I don't know, it was something around probably Shannon breaking up the wild berries, and then just like looking over the factions, had to choose a team, and that one just stuck out to me a lot from the beginning. But to go back to defending Brandon Hanna a little bit, well, I will say there was one question in that round that, yes, I do believe his character is like playing up there and showing the uncaring, right? He had quite a cold shoulder in this match, it seemed. But there's one bit that tells you this is a bit and that he is truly on this team. He's trying to win. He's trying to help Jader. It's in that second round where he mentions it's the Cars 3 question. Who plays? The answer is Armie Hammer, who plays like Lightning McQueen's rival. Wow, can't believe I remembered his name. Those were bad movies. Pixar.
The first one's not bad.
The first one is not terrible, but it's not Pixar. It's not Toy Story or like Up or any of that. But it was that question where he goes, I'm pretty sure I know it. Do you have a guess? And he specifically asks his teammate, like, would you like to wager a guess before we even go multiple choice? And Jader answers him, says he's not super sure. Then they get the multiple choice. Jader asks him if the answer he was thinking of was in those answers. And Hanna defers back to his teammate and says, like, well, I want to hear from you. That is the particular line. Now I want to hear from you.
See, I looked at it differently. My mind went to the heel thing where it's just like he didn't know the answer. He wanted to hear what Jader thought and then latch onto that. See? Like that's where I'm like, I'm not sure what he was doing.
And no, like I do believe he was thinking of Armie Hammer and just like didn't want to. Again, Jader is in his like 4th match or something. Hanna knows that. He knows that and he knows how teams formats work. He's been like behind the scenes for a long time in the Schmoedown. And I really do think that he does specifically try to help the team there. or at least include the team.
Yeah.
And interesting, like I wasn't sure what we were going to see from this, but I did give him the benefit of the doubt and saying, like, a couple weeks back that I believe he had quite a shot here. I think it was on the breakdown with Frank, and we were talking about the team, and I was saying, like, there's so many unknowns about them, and the Odd Couple is a challenge for anyone, which I do want to get into here. I think in a bigger teams tournament, Category 9 could have went some distance at least, if not all the way, because they have a solid game. They don't have the best game, and they don't have a great round 3, but they like exercised proper like chemistry. They talked out their answers. Great challenge by Hannah in the first round.
Great challenge. That is that point should not have been awarded in the first place.
I agree with that after the challenge. But to be fair, I literally thought it was Alice Colin through the looking glass.
Yeah, see, so, I knew the title, so it's one of those things. Like, they nailed it right. It's different from like if it's in a series like the Two Towers or Empire Strikes Back or something. But no, this was the actual title. So yeah, I 100% agree with the challenge that was presented.
Yeah, and considering what is the one before that? Is it just Alice in Wonderland?
It's Alice in Wonderland, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, like you are looking for something in the Alice, except no, I would consider that the Wonderland series and not the Alice series, right?
No,
it's
you're
not
right
about
there.
Alice, it's about Wonderland.
Yeah, but it's also the name of the book too. Like that is also the name of the sequel novel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Either
way, use the site.
And mostly, like my point there was just like I did think it was a colon or like a subtitle to the movie, and if it's a subtitle and they're asking for a sequel, that would have been Favor and Draco, no point, challenge lost, etc. But on they lost this challenge on both counts, right? First, it wasn't a colon title, it was Alice Through the Looking Glass, and secondly, there was another movie called Through the Looking Glass.
Yeah,
that's just like done. There's no more arguments here. Jeff had a great defense for it though. Like, again, me sitting there not knowing which was correct, saying that trying to appeal to it being a sequel, it's the next in the series. You wouldn't say you wouldn't challenge Empire Strikes Back being the sequel to A New Hope, would you?
No, so you're 100% right. But in this case, the full title, that's the whole thing. Like you shouldn't be able to use nicknames or shortcuts or anything like that. Like to get the answer right, you have to know the full answer.
It's kind of on the lines of, and actually even that one, if you were to say Gold Member instead of Austin Powers in Gold Member, those are very different.
Yeah, Gold Member is what we call the movie, but the title is Austin Powers and Gold Member.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the sequel, The Spy Who Shagged Me. And I mean, it even would fall in the same category of the first one too, because everyone calls it Austin Powers, but it's Austin Powers.
International Man of Mystery.
Yeah.
But yeah, and if you put AP in Gold Member, I probably accept that answer actually. If the question has that sequel bit to it.
Yeah.
JP, like if you put JP for Jurassic Park, but if you don't put Jurassic Park, it's wrong. It's just a little bit of like technicalities, which will all be erased next year because they're zeroing all precedents and starting new ones with
Good.
the new rule, which will be interesting, and we'll see probably just as many challenges, to be fair, for the first year, because people are going to be challenging based on like previous rulings, and then they'll have a lot more challenges thrown out, which could get very interesting if there are challenge-worthy questions that come up. Another interesting thing in this match. Oh yeah, that challenge stops Andreyko from a perfect round.
Right? Yeah. That's why it was a very smart challenge.
Yeah, the bonus question, I actually don't have it written here, but I remember it like Jeff had it pretty easily, and it was a pretty well-known movie from what I can recall. So
you remember what the question was?
No, I cannot remember. Oh, it was Seth Rogen and James Franco go on the run after witnessing a murder. Yeah, it's a good question, to be fair. Yeah. I believe that was once a like final round question in a previous age of Schmoedown, and now it's a round one question.
How things have changed.
Yeah, I mean, I might have disagreed with it being a final round question in the past.
Yeah.
Even with that odd wording, because that's not how I think of the movie Pineapple Express at all.
That movie I haven't seen in a long time.
I saw it recently because obviously I was a little too young to be watching it when it came out, but I saw it recently, and honestly, I wasn't all that impressed with it. I didn't like The Big Lebowski either, though. So
when it came out, I wasn't a stoner. Now I'm a stoner. I want to watch it stoned.
See, I was though. I already was, and I watched like Pineapple Express and The Big Lebowski, and I wasn't thrilled with either.
Now, see, with Lebowski though, that one takes multiple watchings to appreciate. A lot of people say I'm not kidding.
Yeah, but if it takes multiple watchings, I'm never gonna get there because I didn't like the first one.
Fair enough.
Like I don't know, just like who's the main guy in that?
The dude.
Yeah, and like his character's annoying, and Steven Seagal in any movie, I'll just pass.
That's not Steven Seagal.
Isn't Steven Seagal one of the friends?
No, that is Jeff Bridges is the dude. Donnie is Steve Buscemi, and then it's Walter is John Goodman.
Oh, I thought he was the crazy dude who pulls the gun at the bowling alley.
No, that's John Goodman.
Well, whatever. Close enough.
It's not even fucking close. John Goodman can act circles around Steven Seagal.
Except he was playing Steven Seagal in that movie. He was just running around yelling and bearded. That I'd have guessed. Listen, any other John Goodman movie, I do agree with you. In this one, it's close enough that I think it's a solid thing to write on my whiteboard. I might not show it to the camera.
And with that, this is going to be, I'm going to pull it. This is a solo show. So, hey, how's it going? No, I'm kidding. I'm not Dave. I wouldn't do
that. What, just because I insulted The Big Lebowski?
No. It's that you compare it to Steven Seagal.
Again, only in that film.
And let's go on.
Yes. Category 9. They do Pixar in round 2. I wrote that down because I have one little note about it. The Incredibles question. That I grew up watching The Incredibles.
What was the Incredibles question? I must have missed it.
Yes. In The Incredibles, Bob's boss describes a company running like an enormous what?
Yeah, I didn't remember that line. For some reason in my head before they went multiple choice, I'm like, why am I thinking Petri dish? But not even close.
And actually, my first answer was family. And honestly, that should have been the answer because that's what The Incredibles is about. Like the company guy should have said something about family. It's wrong because he's not looking at it right. And then the message of the story is that, yes, things do run like a family. They've got problems, but everyone sticks it out in the end and gets the job done. And that's what The Incredibles is about, right? It's about family. So I was just thinking of it on that line. And just knowing that I've seen that movie so many times. If it had come out on VHS instead of DVD and I had a VHS, I'd have worn it out. But DVDs are a little harder to do that.
You can wear on DVDs. My cousin did that with Cars.
It's harder though.
But it can be done.
Much easier. Just anytime you have the DVD player running, just pick it up and turn it on its side like an Xbox. You'll kill your DVD. Oh, yeah. Especially the newer ones where they slide in, and so there's not even a thing to like stick the CD into.
That's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, you'll get some scratches all over it, and it'll never play again. But it's pretty hard to wear out a DVD, to be fair. I've tried.
Well, so my cousins, by the time they were, the oldest one was 10, were on their third copy of Cars.
Wow. That is wild. And yeah, the Odd Couple spinning inner geekdom.
Go
ahead. I'm surprised they let it sit there as long as they did before respinning. They are definitely not the team to be fielding inner geekdom questions, and when you're sitting across Brandon Hanna, you don't pick that category.
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't matter what level of knowledge in those categories that Jader has, because Brandon Hanna definitely has been studying his IG stuff.
100%.
And they get musicals, which I thought they were going to do. I mean, they do super well. They get 9 out of 12 points. They hit every question.
Because that Draco has said in the past, that's one of his strengths. So I knew that. What actually surprised me was that Snyder was able to get a few of them.
I mean, yes, but also no. Like, I got the 2 questions Snyder got.
Fair enough. I got them all, but that's because I'm a music theater nerd.
Yeah, I've more recently been running into musicals, and I'm in general, I'm a much bigger fan of the musical episode. Like I like the idea of musicals. I really like the Book of Mormon, but I haven't seen it either. And my buddy got to go live, and I was so mad at him. He went in New York, and it toured in Montreal. Not the original cast, I don't think, but it did do Montreal Broadway. And nice. I didn't have the time or the funds to go see it. I was very disappointed. I really want to see, because that's like a half musical where it actually has scenes outside of the songs, and part of the story does take place on that stage. And I don't know what those parts are yet.
And so the fact that it's the South Park guys who wrote it does not entice you.
Oh no, I actually am a pretty big fan of South Park, and definitely like used to watch it a lot more, but and will go on record saying the first couple of seasons of South Park are not good.
I agree.
Because it's just a cartoon with F-bombs in it, and that is funny and all, but it's the meta humor that they pick up in like season 4-ish and bring all the way to today. That's my kind of humor.
I will give a shout out to season 3's episode, The Red Badge of Gayness.
Which, speaking of musical episodes, their movie, which you could say is a musical episode of South Park, that is one of the best musicals ever.
Can you believe that movie is 20 years old?
Can you believe, like, the South Park guys only need an Oscar? They didn't get an Oscar for Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
No, but they were nominated.
Yes, they were nominated.
Yeah.
But the two guys, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, are an Oscar away from an EGOT.
Who knew? Who knew? Like, I've started rewatching because the pandemic episode happened, then I started playing the video games, and now I'm actually falling back into watching the episodes, and I realized, no, I do love this show. It's pretty damn
fun. They got a Grammy for both Bigger, Longer, and Uncut and Book of Mormon, I believe. Plus, they got all of the Tonys for that.
Yeah.
But yes, as I was saying, like, I like the musical episode because it takes the format, but then brings it into a thing that you enjoy, and like it's very, very nerdy. Obviously, the one that comes to mind is the one from the TV show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or the South Park musical, where it's both an impressive musical, it's properly made, and it's also goofy as all hell because it's about this very niche subject.
I remember that one.
But yes, we see all the musicals in this one. We get a pull from Grease. We get a pull from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Since I was like 8.
I had the same response as Jeff Snyder there. Was just like, can I say Grease? Wait, is it the sequel? What is the sequel? No, I don't think it is. Grease.
The sequel is my #1 guilty pleasure.
And what is it like? Well, obviously, the year was the denominator between those, unless there's one of those actors. I don't know if one of the actors didn't appear in the sequel, so that could have been a giveaway.
One of them did, but it wasn't listed in the. A few of them did, but it wasn't listed in that question.
Yeah, all the 3 or 4 that they mentioned were in both. So yeah, just know the year of Grease, but I mean, it's a classic movie, right? We get another musical question in the 3rd round. Jader, Julianne Hough, and Diego Boneta in a 2012 musical.
Rock of Ages. I knew that.
I didn't, and I've seen Rock of Ages. I don't know who Julianne Hough or Diego Boneta are.
Well, you're not missing out, but I think it's a fun movie.
Then they have to answer 3 questions in there. I might have challenged here, except that they gave Interstellar, so it's hard to challenge. Who composed the score for Lion King and Interstellar?
Hans Zimmer.
They didn't mention which Lion King.
Really?
Again, the Interstellar bit gives you the answer. It's Hans Zimmer, but I don't know if he scored the 2019 one.
I think he did. Hold on.
I know the soundtrack was done by all the other people, but it is possible he did score it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, it's a small little thing that, you have 2 context clues, and you got it. So hard to challenge something so nitpicky. Plus, what are you going to do? Get your own right question thrown out and be given a new one?
Did the music for the reboot for the redo as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fair then. Last question. Scorsese directed 2 remakes. What are they?
Cape Fear and The Departed.
I kept getting caught on what's it called? Except the problem is I don't think it's a Scorsese movie.
What's the movie?
What's it called? Came out like last year. It was? Yes. Wrong dude. That was the problem. I kept getting caught on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh,
I was just like, but that's not Scorsese. That's not Scorsese. I thought it was a remake because it is like a retelling of a story.
No, it's because there's another movie called Once Upon a Time in America. That's probably why you were thinking that.
Well, and I also know that this is, I mean, the Roman Polanski story. It's a real thing that happened. I thought they had made a movie about it, and he was remaking it with this weird thing. But, and I because a lot of Tarantino's movies are retellings of events as well, right?
Yeah.
So I had that kind of stuck in my head of like, I know it's a remake of something, but it's a remake of reality, not a remake of a movie.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't count.
Yeah. And then I was like, but that's not Scorsese. That's not Scorsese. And I actually had Cape Fear. And then when they mentioned The Departed, I was just like, okay, so it must be those two. I'm overthinking it. And then very sad to see them miss that. TKO for The Odd Couple. They're going to play the winners of Deception versus the Lethal Weapons. So hopefully they're going to play Deception. Loose to them. My bracket can stay intact. No. This tournament has been doing well for me so far. To get into that a little bit, do you think The Odd Couple has what it takes to win this tournament?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I was a little bit pessimistic at first, and then I saw like how they played in this match was very interesting, and they both seemed very fired up and ready to go. I do think now seeing this that this team is incredible, and I'm afraid because I traded them in my fantasy league. So let's hope I don't lose for that. If we want to get into the next match a little bit, because I think I have no other mentions there. Yeah. We have Final Exam versus Tom and Paul. Going into it, did you have a particular favored?
It was Final Exam.
On the tournament breakdown with Frank Janisch, which everyone should still check out, even though we are a couple of matches into this. He has some great mentions about all of the teams and most of the competitors. He answered pretty much any questions I had for him, and also very entertaining to talk to him about any stats, any players. It was very fun. We had Grace managing the den. And I described this match as a coin flip. I couldn't pick one, and I have a number of different matches throughout this tournament that I just described as coin flips, and then you just close your eyes, you pick one of the answers, and you hope.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much where we're at with the crop of competitors we have now, is that anybody can.
And then I also mentioned here, so yes, we got Grace managing the den, because apparently, yes, Grace. And Tom seems to be adjusting a bit to the Schmoedown.
Yeah.
He seems to be more aware of where he is and what he's doing and who his teammate is. It's very interesting. And I mean, this will be an easy first round to summarize. Paul Oyama, perfect round, 9 points. Lon Harris, perfect round, 9 points. Paul Preston, perfect round, 9 points. Tom missed one question, 7 of 8 points. That is, I mean, when I mentioned it's a coin flip, this was what I was expecting. I was expecting a 1 or 2 point difference going into the second and probably going into the third. We don't get that here, but I thought this was going to be that Deep 13 match that ended 35-36. Remember?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, I And then we've got Final Exam at 18, Tom and Paul at 16. Final Exam defers, and oh, damn. That is actually what I was going to mention about the last match, was when the Odd Couple deferred, I was shocked at first, because the Odd Couple doesn't defer. They have almost always gone first. I think Jeff Snyder has spun first in every single one of his Schmoedown matches, given the choice.
Really?
Yeah. And they choose to defer, and I think that is the smartest thing ever, because I have something about it's like in a hockey game when a goalie gets injured and the cold one comes off the bench and he gets 5 minutes to stretch and everything. It's not like he's not mentally in the game, right? Yeah. He doesn't have that like itch in the back of his like head telling him that like that last goal the opposing team scored, it's all on me. I need to fix that. And so what do you do with a cold backup goalie just coming onto the ice? You don't even worry about defense. You try and skate into the offensive zone and you pepper them with as many shots as possible and hope one goes in before he's limber, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what the Odd Couple does here. They realize this is a new team. This is Hannah's first non-IG match. This is only Jader's third or fourth match. They didn't have a super great round one or a super bad one, but you toss them to the Sharks and you see what happens. I really agree with them deferring. But to get back to this match, Final Exam defers, which is actually just a normal thing for them.
Yeah.
Paul Oyama likes to play with knowing how many points his opponent has, and I'm sure Lon Harris either just enjoys playing or doesn't have a choice to play or not. So I don't really know what the situation is with him. He seems to care a lot for someone who doesn't care. But yeah, Tom and Paul spin comedies. Decide to keep it. I'm not sure I super agree with that, but it's not like there were tons of great things on the wheel for them. And one of the things on the wheel was Festival Darlings, the kryptonite of the den, I'd say. And especially the kryptonite of Tom and Paul.
Yeah.
But in their comedies section, that's 4 out of 6. They get 8 out of 12 points. They drop a 2-point question on a California West Coast city, and they answer LA instead of San Fran.
Which I thought was LA as well.
I guessed LA because it seemed legitimate, but then when LA was wrong, I was just like, oh, so it's gonna be San Fran. Like they said West Coast City, and the only 2 possible answers were in California.
Yeah.
There's more on that coast, I'm pretty sure.
This is not, I don't know, I guess because of I've seen the movie multiple times, but because the inciting incident takes place in Los Angeles, I thought it was in Las Vegas, sorry. I thought they went to Los Angeles just because of how close it is. It's only a couple hours away from Vegas, so that's why I thought Los Angeles.
But yeah, and then they drop that question and 3 possible points, but Final Exam only gets 2. They miss the undercover brother question as well, which I got. I was so excited. I was like, I was excited because I haven't seen the movie, but I knew Neil Patrick Harris was in it because I'm familiar enough with Neil Patrick Harris. Again, some musical, some comedy. It's a lot. Neil Patrick Harris has a lot of overlap with my interests.
Yeah, fair enough.
But so yeah. I think Lon owes SEN $20 for Winston's Al Pacino impression.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in round 2, like Winston's about to give his like motivational speech, and then Lon goes, "Could you do it in an Al Pacino Chino impression, and then Winston does it. So I don't know. I think Lon might owe SEN $20 for that Schmoebot impression. Then they spin Amy Adams. That is one of those actor categories that I think is a broad one. Like, I talk a lot on this show about one, that competitors should be familiar with actor categories, and they should also be like able to pull most of them, if not being able to study them as soon as you get that. But if I'm not mistaken, Amy Adams has a lot of supporting roles, and those are hard. Like, I can tell an Amy Adams movie if I've seen it, but I can't tell if Amy Adams played like friend of the girl in this rom-com, which probably has happened 4 or 5 different times.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think spinning away from that is a pretty solid idea. Where did my thing go? They get
Festival Darlings.
Oh god. Yeah, they get the Festival Darlings, yes. And they get 11 of 12 points. They go multiple choice a single time. They kill it. 31-24 for the final exam. This is a 7-point difference. We've seen one match go the other way after this. And it was a very recent one with a little, what I call a reverse knockout, right? An RKO. Oh man, why haven't I made that reference yet? Okay.
Oh, dude. Nowhere.
The reason I haven't made it is because I detest Randy Orton.
Really? Well, you and he'll have to go
time. Yeah, it's we'll get into it at some point. Maybe your other show. We got 3 questions for Tom and Paul. They hit 2 of them. They missed their 5, which is who plays Gordon Drumgoole?
Donald Sutherland, which surprised me.
Yeah?
Because that movie, I thought for sure Paul would have seen a lot and loved.
Yeah, I mean, it's just probably a thing of like 2 names popped into your head. You picked one in the final seconds, and it happened to be the wrong one.
And I just recently rewatched the movie not that long ago. It's not bad. It's not one of Stallone's best, but it's not bad. And then this right there is a 5-point question because it is one of the lesser known movies.
And it's just, it's interesting as a 5.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have, last thing. Final exam plays Founding Fathers or The Witching Power. I think they have a chance, and I have them beating either of these 2 teams.
Yeah.
I believe the Founding Fathers are going forward, but you never know in this show. So, anything else you want to add?
No. Great matches, both matches, which was good.
I do got to get going, and so do you, though.
Yeah, I will say, both good matches. Both honestly were almost predictable. Would win, so it is what it is. Yeah,
predictable, but predictable only based on past results.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking down at either of the other 2 teams, and I was kind of hoping for an upset because they're always fun. So,
all right. So on that note, dude, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, you can find me at our Facebook page, Schmoes of the North, a Schmoedown fan page. We're all admins over there. We promote lots of stuff. And you can find me on Twitter down here at Avengers_SOTN. That's Schmoes of the North. And that's about it. How about you?
So you can find me over Twitter and Instagram at soda_the_saxman. You could also find me Thursday in the evenings with my friend Ben Rayner on a show called Shooting the Breeze. We just sit down with our friends, with a different friend every week, and we talk about a different topic. This latest one, what was this latest one? Oh, and we sat down with Movie Lovers Unite himself, John DeGregorio, and we talked about the rise and fall of Adam Sandler. So that was good.
Nice.
You can also find me on our show Get Sweaty, where we break down movie news, sports news, and we do our weekly top 5 on that one. And you can also find me, like Dan said, here on all the shows over on the Facebook page. So with that in mind, thank you very much for watching the episode. Click like and subscribe. Check out the Smash-a-thon, which by the time this air will almost be done. If not, you can always watch it in replay. So be sure to check that out, and we'll talk to you later. And don't forget, guys, smash cancer.
Yes.